Shout out mommy dad. Don't forget, because then when we get home, we'll be doing dishes.
Well,
Because then you.
5 hours.
that's the real jujitsu, right? Scraping dishes.
That's good.
Yeah, with a big sponge from Crips.
All right. We are live here at Gym Crashers. We have a special guest in-house. His name is Jacob the Bull Brown. How are you, Jacob?
Nice to meet you.
Good to meet you, man. For the second time, I interviewed you at the 5 Grappling event.
Yes.
And I have Maria Rios, of course,
What's
and
up?
myself, producer Miguel in the producer seat there, and JP running things. And Pops, good to see you, Joe.
Likewise. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, sir. So today was a big day. I don't know if everybody caught the news that was out there, but with all that's been going on in the world, people have been taking a stand against what's going on with guns and gun control, whether they're for it or not for it, whatever it may be. But the kids are out there walking out of school now saying, they're concerned about their safety. I realize you're homeschooled, but
Yeah.
you hear anything about that?
No, recently I've heard about it, but I know there's a lot of kids just like, if they're in class or something, they would just walk out. It's like a walkout thing now. Like, they think it's a trend, but it's actually not a good thing to do. Like, those are just bad kids who can't make good choices in their life.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Yeah.
What do you think, Maria?
Well, I mean, I don't blame them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
They
a
gotta take a stand.
serious situation, and for you to go to be in high school or grade school or
Elementary
and
school,
be
right?
afraid, you know what I mean? Like, that's a huge deal, and I totally support it because it's unfortunate. It's like they're not doing anything really to like make it a safer situation for these kids. More awareness, more everything. You know what I mean? I even support like teachers learning how to use weapons themselves. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, come on, if you knew how to protect your students, and you were allowed to carry a firearm, I think a little bit, that more of these kids would probably take a second thought to coming into a school and blasting everybody.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's for sure. And they're getting, more and more common. I think it's happening because of
Yeah.
copycats and things of that nature, but still, it falls back on that same thought process. Who's going to stop them, right?
Yeah.
Everybody hits the dirt, but they take out a few people in the process,
That's right.
Yeah,
People are just following their next people's steps, and nobody wants to be a leader these days.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So homeschool, how's that going? You like it?
Yes, I like homeschool more than regular school because I think you're more comfortable in it, and you get to have peace, and you get to feel free to do anything you need to. That's what I like about it more.
Okay. Yeah, a little closer to the mic if you don't mind. That way it picks up on what you're saying. Have you been homeschooled since kindergarten?
No, I've actually started homeschooling when I was in high school. It was my first time homeschooling. But then elementary, that was my first homeschool. But then I homeschooled twice. I messed up. But in middle school, I went to regular school. I didn't like it, so I told my parents I needed to homeschool. And I started to focus on jiu-jitsu, but still do good in school.
Okay,
That's
so
awesome.
that's a good segue. 'Cause
Yeah.
jiu-jitsu is so important in your life that now school is also equally as important,
it
but you're
is.
going to take it on in a different way by homeschooling.
Yeah.
Okay, and your dad even moved you from the East Coast to here for the
Yeah.
purpose of training at AOJ.
Yeah.
Very
That's
cool.
awesome.
Yeah. So tell us about how you started in jiu-jitsu.
Well, first we started in New York, and I was actually got bullied when I was younger, when I was in regular school, and so I told my parents I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to start doing something to defend myself. And my parents decided, what are we gonna do to help you out? And they asked me the question. It was like, well, at least something that I don't want people offending me in any kind of way. So my mom's sister, she was a cop, and she introduced us to jiu-jitsu, which they practice every day. And she brought us in the gym, and she met all her friends and stuff. And then we met some friends. And then once I started training with them, I was like, man, I love this. And my friend, we trained every day. So I was like, now I gotta start doing this. I feel like this is like my favorite thing to do every day.
I think that's all of our story, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. We all
It was,
either watched a class or took a class
I
or
just-
something and then got hooked.
yeah. I just loved it when I trained it.
There's an interesting thought process that occurs with jiu-jitsu, and
Mhm.
as you train over time, and that it's very problem-solving.
Mhm.
Somebody presents a problem or a submission, you present a counter.
Yeah.
So there are applications in life that kind of present themselves that are so relatable. How have you felt about that? How's jiu-jitsu kind of helped you with growing up? And clearly you've done it since you were, 6 years old?
Yeah, 6 years old.
Man, that's a long time. So, it's almost everything that you know, right?
Yeah.
It's the way you conduct yourself.
Yeah. I think it made me feel a lot more humbled and more respectful as a kid than other teenagers that grow up to do bad things, not making good choices. I don't want to be one of those kids. That's what my parents, that when I grow up, I want to actually do something, have something to do with my career or life before I started.
Yeah.
So it's basically been kind of like your sport, if you will. Like, since you were a very little kid, you didn't really play any other sports. You
Yeah.
focus mainly on jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And, oh, that's really awesome.
Yeah.
I'm jealous.
Yeah.
I found it so late in life, and he's been doing it
Fortunate.
since 6.
Do you feel like, you know, like the fact that you're homeschooled, you obviously get to learn at your own pace, which is awesome, right?
Yeah.
Does that help, like, you know, you get to basically build your training schedule around your school, or how does that work?
Yeah, we definitely get more schedule. We could make some more space for everything we need to do. So if we need to school, I could go there anytime. If we need to go train, I go train right after school. I mean, yeah, right after training, I go to school, at least for 3 hours, and then
You can break
Just
it up,
make
like,
a lot of space.
however.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Is your school open all day so you can do that, kind of go back and forth,
yeah, it's
classes
up
all
until
day?
like 3, 4 o'clock.
Okay,
Yeah,
Oh,
very
wow.
nice.
it is
That's
good.
neat.
I love it.
So you got 3 classes a day with jiu-jitsu, kind of intermixed with your studies?
Exactly, yeah.
Wow, that's a lot of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Well, you're young, so you can your body can
Oh,
handle it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I have to ask, what's your favorite subject in school?
I like English.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
So why
Yeah.
English? Is it the stories? Is it writing? What
I
is
think
it?
I get comfortable with the stories. Like, makes me understand a lot more.
Yeah, I find that the more I read, the better writer I become.
Exactly. That's
know?
what I'm saying.
And you,
And you
kinda-
become like a better eloquent speaker as
you
well.
can.
Yeah.
It's all
That's what I
relatable,
do.
right?
Look at him.
That's why he has a good vocabulary.
He does good, yeah. Producer
Thank you.
Miguel is when he's off camera, he can really find a special spot with our people. I love that about
Yeah.
him.
Yep.
So what else? So you got English. What else you like to do? I mean, clearly jiu-jitsu is your passion. Is there anything else that drives you?
Well, in sports-wise,
Just in life, you got TV shows you watch. What's going on? Because you got a lot of time at home. Social life is all around jiu-jitsu, as most of ours are. You know, I hang out with all the guys I train with and the ladies I train with, but I do some other things outside of that. You know.
well, first one of the things, I just like being creative and things. I like to do like funny videos or something, just like what you said. I just like to make people laugh or something, or do some kind of thing, jokes or something.
Like pranks.
Yeah, pranks or something like that. I just like to be the kind of kid that could do something fun outside of jiu-jitsu,
Yeah.
but also be a good kid.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you do a good job of that. Now, if you follow his Instagram, you'll see all kinds of stuff. The guy edits himself with his iPhone 10. The magnificent iPhone 10 that he's told me all about that I need to get now because
Yeah.
I don't edit anything, but I need to learn. So you do a good job of that.
Thank
a lot
you.
of your stuff. And then I know that whatever you're a part of, you often film it yourself so that you can segment it and break it up the way you like. So that's kind of cool,
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
So you have a mind for producing something the way you want it to be seen.
Exactly.
I need to learn that.
Yeah, that's
That's good. I like doing
Are
it.
like most of your friends, like your social circle, all jujitsu
Yeah,
people? That's
all of
cool.
them.
That's good because then it's like you guys have I would imagine a stronger connection, a stronger friendship because you share like
Yeah,
the
we share the
jujitsu
same thing.
world, and
Yeah.
instead of like if you were in like a regular high school, you might have like similar things that you know you get along with certain people in high school, but outside of that, they may not have the same
Mhm.
passion as you or even know what jujitsu is. So I think that's really cool because you already developed that really strong bond with different teenagers, probably older students, younger students, that like usually people don't get to have.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
I've always felt like when I roll, it's kind of like having a conversation anyway. So you kind of grow with people in that way, right?
Yeah,
The people that you roll with, there's a certain kind of bond that you can't replace that, you know?
Yeah, you can't. It's better because, being friends with regular kids, people that you meet from school, is all going to have to do with something that you don't want to do.
Yeah.
You don't be a part of it.
Yeah.
So it's like, why just not meet people that you like the same thing that you guys do? It makes it easier for everything.
Yeah, I mean, we're always going to find like-minded people to be with. That's important. I agree 100%. But the uniqueness of having friends that do jiu-jitsu and the intricate things that we do to grow and learn and to talk that over with someone probably helps you develop your game, right?
Yeah.
That's a cool thing. Not a lot of people have that. We have our friends and stuff, but, it's competitive. Not everybody's sharing their ideas. But maybe maybe at your level you guys do. How does that work? Is there a lot of competitiveness amongst your friends, or does everybody share ideas?
Well, yeah, we share ideas. I mean, we don't get competitive with each other, but we do get competitive when we want to do something. We'll probably do it as a team or something.
That's cool.
But that's how we do things with each other.
That's good. So when you have a tournament coming up, how does that go? Everybody kind of gets on the same path. It's kind of like
Yeah.
fight camp. You guys are all kind of doing the routine.
Yeah, we will all like say something to each other, like we're gonna do this, or we're gonna do this as a team, and we'll make plans or something. And we'll say, you know, we're gonna win this, we're gonna do it, and we're gonna fight hard.
It's good.
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's a good approach. Do you change your eating habits or anything to get prepared for a match?
As a matter of fact, probably on the daily, I start taking protein things now, maybe like health shops or something, or anything I need to get my body right.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to eat anything junk food or any bad thing. I don't do anything for the sports I do.
That's really unique because that's like a lot of the struggle with like teenagers now is they're usually overweight or they're struggling with nutrition, and already because of jiu-jitsu and the circle that you're in, it's like you want to do these things because you know that you'll fight better, you'll perform better. So you're already taking that, which is going to be so much easier for you later on in life because you'll already have those amazing habits, which is like I'm a fitness instructor, and like some of the people in my class, they struggle, and they're older, they're a lot older, and they're struggling so hard to get back on point because they've never had those amazing habits built into their life. So that's so awesome. Like,
It's a good starting point.
Yeah,
I'm jealous, man. You got a
it's
lot going for you.
awesome.
You know,
Thank you.
absolutely. So most recently was the 5 grappling, your most recent tournament.
Yeah.
And how'd you do there?
I got double gold there. I had
Wow.
one kid, but I fought him 4 times in gi and no gi. So it's like,
Double gold.
yeah.
It's going big. Gi and
Gotta
no
keep
gi.
going.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Miguel, did you have something?
I actually wanted to ask him. So, how long you been living in California?
I think now 3 years.
Okay.
Wow.
So,
Nice.
what did you have to kind of get adjusted? I know it's like different from the East Coast,
I mean,
especially where were
Way
we living at before?
different than
New
the
Jersey.
East Coast.
New Jersey, yeah.
Just
Okay.
talking to your dad, I
Yeah.
learned so much about the East Coast. Now I got to go check everything out.
Exactly.
Apparently,
I
I'm not
mean-
going to Camden.
You don't want to go there.
I mean, at least when I got here, I automatically loved it. I didn't really want to go back because all the snow, just the weather,
Yeah.
everything there is just like,
East Coast winters are brutal.
Yeah. I just love this place. I want to live here until like I die. This place is like my favorite.
Well, yeah, they got that nor'easter ×3, and I think the 4th is on its way right now. So your friends back at home are like, dude, it's 80 degrees where you live?
Yeah.
So does
Actually-
pizza out here suck as bad as people say it does?
Yeah, tell us.
I like the pizza here. I mean, in New York pizza's probably better, but I mean, I think the pizza here is still good.
Have you been to any taco places? Like
I will
real
say I haven't
street
been to the East
tacos?
Coast in a really long time.
I mean, yeah, it's
The
been a-
time I went, there was no such thing as Mexican food out there. I'm sure times have changed, but
Yeah.
you know.
Well, at least from the East Coast, I haven't. It's been a while since I ate Mexican tacos or something. I mean, I don't know how the real taste is now from here to California. California from New
is
York.
way better.
Do you like In-N-Out?
So we got tacos, you got pizza.
I was like, do you like In-N-Out?
In-N-Out, yeah, that's my favorite.
Bomb, huh?
I do like that.
I
Yeah.
think like there'd be something wrong if he said no. I don't like it. Like what?
I've actually had quite a few East Coast people say they think In-N-Out's horrible.
What?
Really?
Are you
Yeah.
serious?
Really?
Yeah, dead serious.
Insane.
Dang.
Yep, dead serious.
Burgers are so good though.
I exactly. They're not really jujitsu food, but they're good
No.
food, you know?
Yeah.
They're
Hard to roll after
treat
a,
after.
a double and an animal fry and a shake.
Exactly.
That'll do you in. You got a question, Mr. Producer Miguel?
No, I'm just trying to pick his brain as far as, I noticed him and his old man's accent. So I joked with his old man, asked him, hey, that's a cool accent, dude. Is that from Florida?
And he just about knocked our block.
I know.
What are you talking about? That's hilarious. So, starting again, so your first jiu-jitsu school is in New Jersey, Newark,
Mhm.
New Jersey, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And from there, it seems like you kind of outgrew it, I was told by your dad. And where'd you go from there?
Well, the first school I ever went to in New York, it was Carnicella Jiu-Jitsu in New Jersey, yes. I started doing judo there first before I started doing jiu-jitsu.
Nice.
I loved it there, but I thought for me to learn more advanced things, to do more jiu-jitsu better, I was like, maybe we should move to somewhere like that could teach advanced things. So we thought like Cali or something. But then before we got to Cali, we started going to a few more gyms in New Jersey. Like there's a school we went to at Notorious Jiu-Jitsu, where my old sensei Fiona Watson, she was a really good teacher. I liked her a lot. She did have a lot of good jiu-jitsu skills. She was one of my favorite teachers that was there since I was younger.
So she's a female teacher.
Yeah, female teacher.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I rolled with Maria last week, you know, so she's no slacker. She's going to give it to me, you know what I mean? Take my arm off, take my head off. If I don't watch it, then an elbow follows and a punch too. So
Well,
she was a tough teacher, huh?
Yeah, she was a really good teacher. I loved her a lot.
Was she strictly jiu-jitsu or did she follow up with some judo too?
She was more jiu-jitsu. Maybe sometimes like in the nogi class we do like a little bit MMA maybe, but all her jiu-jitsu was really good. I really loved her.
Cool.
But then I decided like maybe we need to do something like big in jiu-jitsu. So we thought we went to Cali, maybe try out. We heard of the art of jiu-jitsu by our friends from the Khans family, and they were like, if you come to our AOJ, and we were like, what's AOJ? And it was like, it's like the biggest school in the program. The Mendes Bros just opened up their new school.
Yeah.
And we're like, man, we have to go try this out. And we were there. We got there when I was age 12. I was like a year later, and I was like, this school is like a little bit weird, you know, because it was my first time. I was like, I don't know what to do because like there's a lot of hazing and stuff.
Sure.
I don't know what to do. So
We do a lot of that here.
Yeah.
No, before they open, I peek through the windows because if you're a jiu-jitsu person, I'm like, oh my God, everything is white.
Yeah, I
like,
wasn't
it's like
used to it.
jiu-jitsu heaven.
Yeah.
I'd never seen such a clean place. You
Doing
know,
jujitsu on a cloud.
jiu-jitsu, cleanliness is key. Come on,
Yeah.
we
Of
can go home
course,
with
yeah.
some funk on you. It may grow, it may
Yeah.
spread, it may turn into something you never want to have again. But man, I thought it was unbelievable
Yeah.
how nice of a place it was, and
It
then
was.
it has kind of earned that reputation for being the place to go for,
Exactly.
you know, especially kids your age and people that really want to grow and learn. And people are moving from all over. I mean, I was talking to your dad. He said people from Hawaii, people from New York, of course. Families are relocating, Japan even.
Yeah.
You know, from other countries just to train there.
Yeah, it's a really good gym. It's like the biggest gym.
Yeah.
So exactly when I got there, it was like once I met the Mendes Bros, they introduced me to themselves, and I was like, man, these guys are awesome. And once I started doing their classes there, I was like, wow, these guys are like really good and they're the best. I was like, dang, I have to be part of the school. And I told my parents, I don't want to leave here. I don't want to like
That's cool.
go back. I was like, I have to stay here. We're gonna learn like big things from these guys.
Did it take a lot of convincing to have your family move out here, or was that mostly like your idea?
That's a
or-
pretty big support group that
Yeah.
says, hey, my
Yeah.
son does this sport. Let's move across the country.
Yeah.
So tell me about
really
that. How
appreciate
did that
that.
happen? How did you guys make that decision together?
We just all thought about it. Well, mainly our friends introduced it to them, and we were like, you know, we're just gonna go for it. Why hesitate when we could just do it? And like we have to do it. We could get a life from something. And it was like this could be big. We don't know anywhere this go. My parents didn't know this was gonna happen. Like we didn't know if I was gonna have a career. We didn't know if like this was gonna go that far.
Sure.
And we were like, let's just do it.
That's
And
awesome.
then this is where I end up now.
Major support.
You just roll the dice, yeah, and hopefully
Yeah.
it
Those are
looks
big
like it's
steps.
paying off. So
Well, your pops has
You
got,
know.
you know.
Yeah,
You've got
I
a
appreciate
solid
them a
support
lot.
team behind you.
I
You know?
appreciate my
Good.
family a lot. I love them.
Yeah, that's a good thing. That's a good place to come from.
Good.
You're a lucky guy.
Good
Thank
mom and pop
Yeah.
Yeah.
behind you. That'll make it.
Yeah. A little closer to the mic because I think Jessica's telling us that you need to
Okay.
pick up your voice.
Yeah, don't move.
Yeah, just right there. There you go, buddy.
Okay.
Not right on it, but you know, close enough.
Okay.
It's all good though. So tell me where you're at right now. So now you've got a couple years in with the AOJ. What is it, 3 years?
Yeah, 3 years now.
Okay, and then you're a green belt.
Yeah.
How does the belt process work for kids? I know it's a little different for adults, which I have memorized, but for kids a little bit different.
At least from where I know, I got grandmaster into the belts. I went from white, yellow, orange, black is when I first started with my half colors from the IBJJF rules, and then I got green belt. But from all the regular belts before that, it was usually white. It would go, then gray, white, gray, black, and then maybe yellow, white. I'm sorry, it's yellow,
Just
white,
bright
yellow.
colors.
No,
There's a lot of them. There's a lot of them.
Well, to sum it up, at some point you get to the top,
Mm.
which we all know kind of is like a
Yeah.
black belt. But do they black belt people that are under 18? Is that how it works, or do you have to wait till you turn 18?
Yeah, you can be 18 and older to get a black belt.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's the height? What's the top that you can go to at say 17?
Probably just brown belt.
Brown belt.
Yeah, you can get
Okay,
brown
so
belt
you do
17.
get that brown belt, and then when you turn 18, then you're
18 get black belt. Yeah.
eligible for the black. Okay,
Oh.
cool.
Yeah.
So a similar process, but you know you need to reach adulthood,
Mhm.
and then they give you that.
Yeah.
I always wondered about that. So when you roll at tournaments, there's different options. So if you're rolling no-gi, they're talking about years of experience
Yeah.
and then your weight class.
Yeah.
So when you go for gi, it's based upon your belt and then everything else.
Exactly.
Got it. Have you ever done absolute? Have you ever just put yourself up against whoever they're going to throw at you?
No, I haven't did that yet. When I get blue, I'm gonna start doing that.
Okay.
Start going to the big divisions.
Okay. That's an interesting thought process that goes along with that. But, you know, as we understand jiu-jitsu, it's made for the smaller person to
Yeah.
have an advantage over the larger
Exactly.
person that doesn't necessarily know. But
Yeah.
the variables are different when your opponent is not only larger but
It
knows
is.
jiu-jitsu, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then the equation's different. But not to say that a lot of people don't do it and they're successful anyways, right?
Mhm.
Because maybe you're faster, right? Maybe you're
I
smarter.
feel like
It
it's a
is.
good challenge. Like when
Oh, it is a
Right.
challenge.
you do the absolute eventually, you know, because it's like you said, it's everybody all together, and you don't know who you're gonna get,
Mhm.
and then you really like that's a true test because in your division you're fighting someone of your own weight class and rank, and then the absolute comes and you don't know.
Yeah.
They could be like 30 or 40 pounds heavier
Exactly.
or, you know, lighter, whatever, higher rank than you, and then you just gotta show 'em
Yeah.
what's up.
Yeah. But as you know, styles don't always eliminate other people. So as you roll with different people, different ranks, different sizes, you may do better.
Yeah.
You know what I
think
mean?
I do better. Yeah.
So
I can handle
You have
it.
a big variety of people that you train with at your gym.
Oh yeah, we have a big class. Like there's a lot of varieties. There's like with the big people, I think it's pretty good to go with them because you can get more strong off of them.
Yeah.
And if you go to tournaments, you go to open weight division, you're gonna fight like 130, like 170 maybe.
pretty big,
So
man.
I think
Yeah.
it's good for it.
Well, steel sharpens steel, so you do
Yeah.
want to always go against upper belts,
Yeah,
stronger people,
exactly.
right? And
Yeah.
challenge yourself because you get better,
Yeah.
right? Very cool.
Yeah.
Are you teaching any classes to some of the younger folks there now, since you go so much?
At the AOJ, not yet, but I think when I get blue, I might start like teaching classes, helping out with the coaches maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe start teaching little kids, hopefully.
That's usually where they start you. That's where I started.
Yeah.
Juvenile.
Or purple, you know, as adults.
Yeah.
You start to teach, but
Teaching
yeah.
the little kids first. If you
Yeah.
can teach
Yeah.
little kids.
Oh, that's
you
true.
can-
Yeah, with
It's
the
really
little
good
ones,
to
of
help.
course. It takes
You can-
patience. If you can do that, you can teach
You
anyone,
can
right?
teach.
Exactly.
But then again, I hear the opposite. Kids are one thing because they absorb it,
Yeah,
they learn,
it's
they
true,
listen,
though.
and adults are
They
like
get it.
spaced out.
They get it. Like, you know what's crazy is that my kids, when I taught all different age groups, but the first age group I taught was the really little kids. So it was from 4 to 7. And those kids, like, they just are fearless. So, and they don't have any, like kind of anything installed in their mind that's going to make them be like, huh, or that's not right. And you tell them to do something and they kind of wiggle around on the mat and they do it. Adults, they're already like programmed.
They
They're
get in their own
awkward.
way, yeah.
They don't their coordination, if they have it, is, you know, eh.
Yeah, no, you're right.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's like sometimes it's harder. Sometimes you're like, move your left arm. Your left arm. Your other left. You know what I mean?
It's
You're
a valid
like-
point, yeah.
Sometimes you have to go up to them and like touch where they're supposed to, you know what I mean?
Mm.
So that's cool.
Yeah, well, the point I see a lot is, you know, guys come in, they're macho, they got a big right hand.
Oh, yeah.
So when you're saying throw a left, they only have that right.
Yeah.
They don't even use their left. They don't know how to jab or have a fight position. You know what I mean? They're just, they square up.
That's it.
You know, so I think
Yeah.
that's what makes people fall in love with the game is that their first day, it's a little eye-opening when
They're
you realize how
humbled.
deficient
They're
you are.
humbled
And humbling the
greatly.
experience is, right?
Mhm.
Especially when Jacob walks up and then takes your arm off and, you know,
Has
does
that
a
ever
judo
happened?
throw.
Like, have you ever been like in class and then there's like a new guy or person that comes into the class or whatever and thinks they're, you know, the ish, and then you just got to put them down?
Yeah. I mean, I when I walked into the gym, that happened to me first, but then maybe after like 3 years, a new kid came in and was like, oh, this kid looks like a good partner. And then he thought he was like gonna smash everybody. I was like, let's just like take it like as we always do with everybody else. And then he just got like smashed by everybody. But then after maybe like a couple of months, he got used to everybody. He knew their
Mhm.
game and stuff. They started to do as good as us.
Mhm.
But that's how it is in mostly all the gyms. I mean, mostly kids
Yeah.
get hazed. But it's a normal thing in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. If they stay, they get better, right?
Exactly.
We help them get better, and then they
Yeah.
close that gap before you know it.
Yeah,
They're a really good partner, right?
it is.
That's always nice when you get that.
Yeah, it is.
You just get them those fundamentals, and then you have a good training partner. You help them grow, they help you grow.
Exactly.
You know, that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, it's really good.
So what about transitioning into MMA? I heard you mention judo, of course, so you're already mixing it up a little bit. And then you mentioned your lady sensei from New York was
Yeah.
teaching you some things. Have you been training MMA at all, or just at Art of Jiu-Jitsu, you focus just on Jiu-Jitsu right now?
At least for now, I'm going to focus on jiu-jitsu at training at AOJ because I want to see how far that can get me to. I think that's going to be my main focus until when I get older, I'll think about what to do next.
Sure. Do you have your sights on a specific tournament? Are you looking at Abu Dhabi, looking at EBI? What are you looking at?
Yeah, just mostly the big tournaments that are really good for the competitors, but also the local tournaments I like doing also. But I think it'll make it good for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite tournament that you always like to compete in? Sounds like you got NAGA, you got IBJJF.
IBJJF tournaments I really like doing.
Yeah.
Pan Am is probably number one first.
The Pan Kids just
Yeah.
passed up. And why'd you miss that? You mentioned you didn't go to Pan Kids?
No, I did go to Pan
Oh, you
Kids.
did?
I competed,
Okay.
Yeah. But I'm saying for when I get blue belt, I'll do Pan Adults. That's
Got
one of the
it.
main ones I
Got it.
focus
You're going to
on.
step up to Pan. That's what it
Yeah.
was. You did Pan Kids, but not the big Pan Ams.
Yeah.
Awesome. So how'd that go? What happened at Pan Kids?
Well, I fought one of the top, one of the Cato Vitula brothers.
Yeah.
And, you know, they're like really big. They're really good fighters. I fought Cato Vitula. I got second by an advantage.
Nice.
2 points, but I think the referees kind of messed it up. That's according to what they said. But he was a good fight. I really liked rolling with him. I thought it was a really good fight.
Okay. Very cool. It's a good experience nonetheless, right?
Yeah, it was really good.
So what's the next big one coming up? Is there anything coming up this year? Are you looking at next year?
Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah, I think I do
Oh,
Jiu-Jitsu
that's a
Worldly
good
now.
tournament.
Yeah.
That's a good
Yeah, I think that's
tournament.
next week.
Is that next week?
Yeah.
Where's that at?
I'm not exactly sure what's that.
Don't know.
Yeah.
Jiu-Jitsu World League?
They're usually in like,
Toledo.
yeah, or
Huh.
they're like. I've
We
been
might
to
head
one.
out to
I've been
that.
to one in
Huntington Beach.
Huntington Beach and San Diego.
But he's competing this Saturday at Lapel.
So you got a match coming up just to prepare you for the big match.
Yeah,
I like it. That's the way to do it. You got to tune yourself up.
Yeah. Thank you.
Lapel Cup.
Lapella
Lapella
Cup.
Cup,
All right.
okay.
I haven't heard of that one, but very cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
gonna be
Where is
good.
that?
This is going to be in Victorville.
Oh, Victorville, yeah.
Oh, that's
You got a little
nice.
drive, buddy.
Yeah.
Oh
It'll
man,
be worth it at
I
the
went
end,
out
though.
there for some fights.
Yeah.
Victorville's a dump.
So
Yeah.
well, yeah, to put it
Sorry,
nicely.
it is.
To put it nicely, it is its own place. We have a couple sponsors we'd like to give a shout out to. Jacob is sponsored by Os Kimonos, right?
Yeah.
And SureFit Mouthguards,
Nice.
right?
Yes.
And representing AOJ.
Yes.
I asked him on camera, so what school do you go to? He goes, I'm homeschooled, dude. I'm all jiu-jitsu
He's never
school,
gonna
sir.
live that down,
He's
ever.
all, AOJ. Got
Sounds
you.
good.
Which academy, which gym, which training facility do you belong to? I'll ask him more squarely next time so that you know exactly what I mean. It's all good.
That's a.
Yeah. So Jacob's going to teach a technique of the week, so we're going to excuse him for just a moment. We're going to throw our gis on. He's going to go over a technique, and then we'll be back shortly.
All right.
Cool. And if you want to hop on over here while we're doing our thing, go ahead, Jacob. You can throw your gi on. I'm going to go throw mine on because I think you're going to perform it on me.
Okay.
So if you're going to pick me up and throw me like a sack of potatoes, I better prepare
Do
myself.
it.
Loosen
Do
up a little
it.
bit.
Okay.
You want to jump on over here, Miguel, while we get prepped?
Miguel.
You don't need to bash about that all that.
Just throw it on. So
I
are,
mean, yeah, no,
can you still hear me? Okay.
oh boy, I can tell he's so like.
Yeah.
So he said he meant to say he was grandfathered into the whole belt system. He said I was grandmastered.
It's good he's doing all these kind of things now, because then like in a few years, and he's comfortable, it'll just flow.
Oh, he's just gonna breeze right through it.
Yeah.
That's what I told him. The first time he was on interview was when he was 8, and it was not live like this. It was over the phone. It was live, but it was a phone
Yeah.
interview. And I coached him through the whole entire interview. I had a notepad. I was writing stuff down super fast. He was just repeating what I was saying. I was whispering in his ear.
That's
and
good.
Then until he got adjusted, and by 9 he was doing it totally by himself. You know, these things are nerve-wracking.
Yeah,
right?
of course.
They even put me on there one day, and I was like, what the hell?
You're like, nah, I'll just talk from behind the scenes.
Yeah, and I was like,
I'm
oh
good.
man. So yeah, it's nerve-wracking, and then and it's just a damn camera. Like, who doesn't
Yeah.
want to be in front of a camera? But you know, his audience became so wide, he knew everybody was watching, so the pressure would just build, and you would see him sweaty, and it was just, you've been
Yeah.
to Bellator, you going into an octagon, and there's like, how many people watching
Yeah.
you, and you're like, you got the whole world on your shoulder, you know?
Mike's are gonna go live right
Okay.
now, so if you guys wanna talk
Oh.
while they're waiting.
Okay,
Alright, it's a placeholder right now.
cool. What's up, Miguel?
What's up? He was definitely way better behaved kid than I was when I was his age.
Oh my God! Like, just think about it. Like, I look at kids now, like for him, for example, and I'm like, dang, that I just wish that like I could have started at that age.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
All right, we'll cut over to Jacob and Dondo.
I'll let Jacob go ahead and take over. He's got a technique that he'd like to cover with me as his his partner. Go ahead and introduce.
Alright, so I'm Jacob Will Brown. I'm going to teach the technique of the week that I've been practicing for. So you can lay down and go on.
On my back?
Yeah, your back.
Okay.
So you're going to get the sit-up guard?
Okay, let's go this way so they can actually see us on camera.
Yeah.
Okay, so you ready?
So you're going to grab the lapel.
Yep.
So you're gonna grab when he gets the hook,
Yep.
then you're gonna grab the sleeve, you're gonna push his leg down, he's gonna sit up, you're gonna put his your leg behind his thigh, you're gonna hug his head, you're gonna grab his arm, and then he's gonna like make sure his legs are down, in with this.
Good. One more time. One more time so we know we got it on camera. So again, what's this
Yeah.
one called?
I don't move, I just do it.
Okay.
Rolling arm bar.
Rolling arm bar. Here we go.
Yeah.
All right, so we're up.
You
I'm
sit
on my
up.
back. Here we go.
You're gonna get the hook, the belly hook, you're gonna push the leg down,
Yep.
grab his sleeve, from here, grab his leg, pull his arm, take it down.
It's good. Thank you for giving my arm back.
Oh.
That was awesome. So thank you so much, Jacob, for being here. That was a nice interview. We got to know about you. Awesome technique. We're looking forward to seeing you at upcoming tournaments. Where can people find you on Instagram, Facebook, whatever we have out there?
My Instagram is Jacob the Boar Brown. If that's where you want to find me, that's where I have all the things and that's on my follow page. That's pretty much it. I'd like to do a shout out for my sponsors at Los Komodos. I really appreciate you and with the Mendes Bros at Art of Jiu-Jitsu. Love me with that academy. So
Very
that's what I'm
good.
gonna say. And thank you for my family. Really
Yeah,
love
shout out
them
to Joe
supporting me.
and your mama.
Yeah. So that's all I gotta say.
Very cool. Thank you, Jacob.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure having you, brother.
Appreciate it.
I'll see you.
Bless.
Us. Very good, brother.
That's quite a
That was a pretty cool technique.
Yeah.
I like that.
oh, I don't think Dondo can pull it off because he's old. But
He's not that agile
a couple
anymore.
years younger.
Let's talk a bunch of trash about him right now before he comes back.
He already knows. His
Yeah.
ears are bright red. There he is.
There he is. Hello.
I'm still in one piece.
How's the shoulder?
Oh,
Arm.
my arm's good.
It's a pleasure to have our guests here today.
Thank you again,
Yeah,
Jacob
thank you.
and Joe Brown.
Thank you.
You guys
Thank
are
you, guys.
awesome. Keep
Yep,
it up.
absolutely.
Oh, by the way, I'm sorry. Before we sign out, check out Jacob on Instagram. It's Jacob the Bull Brown, and on YouTube it was Jiu-Jitsu Jake.
Jiu-Jitsu Jake.
Yeah,
Check 'em
lots
out.
of good stuff on there.
Yes.
And his sponsors, Os Kimonos, SureFit Mouthguards, and AOJ Academy, who he represents so well.
Yes, check him out definitely because he definitely has
This
his
kid's going
life
places.
in,
He is.
in
Take me
order
with you, buddy.
more than most
Don't forget
adults
us when
do.
you're big and famous.
That's right. I'll be calling Joe. I got his number, so.
Call Joe. That's it.
Yep, you know
Just
it.
call Joe. That's it.
Drive
Just
safe,
call his
fellas.
agent.
I love it.
See you guys.
So it was cool. He's very, very specific, and for a young man, he could actually teach a class. You could tell. He threw an armbar on me from a sit-up guard position, as he
Nice.
calls it. From like De La Riva, and I reached up and grabbed his gi, and then whoop, he got my arm. I was like, hey, So, really cool. It's good to see that level of commitment because,
It's cool to see a kid his age so dedicated to something.
it's amazing. And
Yeah.
not just the traditional stuff. Like, there's football guys, there's baseball guys. I love those sports and everything, but jiu-jitsu has been in his life since he was 6 years old,
Yeah.
you know?
I just think like most kids nowadays aren't as focused as he is. You know.
I'm gonna be real.
Like-
Like most kids nowadays, excuse me, but they're assholes.
Oh,
They
yeah.
are, and
Yeah.
it's unfortunate because they get away with so much stuff that's not good for them, and it's like, I think that's so amazing that like he has such an amazing support system from his mother and father to encourage him to follow this like dream of his that he's so passionate about. I'm not saying that there aren't parents that are like that, but
It's
Yeah, I'm not saying like you know.
I think it's
Common,
uncommon.
it's like-
It's super uncommon to
Yeah.
be at that level to where you'll move across the country for your child. That's a big deal. You know what
like,
I mean?
and I feel like that's so amazing because that's like that's what it's all about. Like, you're a parent, so now like they're your sole, like their success is your complete responsibility. So I
Absolutely.
think they're doing amazing things for him
That's
to like
cool. Yeah.
be.
Well,
they're setting him up for success in like every way possible.
And he's super humble about it. Like,
Yeah.
it's a kind of an age where you're like, I don't want to hang out with my parents. I'm not going to do this, not going to do that.
No,
and he's
for
like,
sure.
no, I love them. Like, they're there for me.
Or
So
they're like
much respect for him.
getting in, like kids that age are typically, from what my experience, like getting into like stuff they're not supposed to be getting into or experimenting with like dating and stuff like that, and it's just these distractions and things that pull them away from like that. He's so focused and like dedicated, and you can tell that like he's very family oriented, and that's like I feel like that's so amazing and so important.
I think it brings me back to the topic of the week. We talked about the national walkout, the kids that are standing up for themselves because they're worried about going to school because they don't know what's going to happen. They're trying to control their outcome a little bit and say, hey, we need a change.
Yeah.
I think that the disenfranchised kids, the ones that are doing these terrible things and bringing guns to school and shooting people at school, boy, I can't imagine that jiu-jitsu would be a bad thing.
Oh,
right?
for them, yeah. Can you imagine? Like, okay, I read some of these, things on some of those kids that were involved in the shooting, and that they had like mental issues or emotional issues or something like that. And it's like, when I first started training and teaching jiu-jitsu, there was a student that came into the kids class, and he was probably 8 years old, and he had some issues, and like his parents tried everything to help him. He was on therapy, he was on medication, he went to electric shock therapy.
Whoa,
Jesus.
that's heavy.
Like all this stuff. This poor kid was 8 and looked like he was like old,
40.
like, bags under
Yeah.
his eyes. Poor kid. He had issues with like other kids touching him, and it was like super
Oh,
bad.
it's such a bummer.
Year and a half into jiu-jitsu, like it was like a light shined inside of it. Like it was like something went on. His mother one day broke down and was like, this is the only thing that's ever helped him. He didn't have to take medication anymore. He didn't have to do that other stuff. And I'm like, this isn't a fluke. Like, this really does change people's lives, like, for amazing, like, really good things. You know what I mean? Even so, I'm a firm believer, like, martial arts, not just, like, regular sports, but martial arts, because it teaches you something else. It brings something else besides, like, learning how to play basketball. You know what I mean?
There's a commitment. There's a different level of commitment. When I have Miguel throwing, his fists at me, I have to be in the moment. So anything I was worried about outside, when I turned off my car, I put on my gi, it's still in the back of my mind. I stretch out and I'm still thinking about things. The moment he moves forward and he's going to knock my block off, I have to be
All
in that
that
moment, right?
disappears, yeah.
So then that becomes what you do to kind of get away from everything, in my opinion.
I think that's key because I mean, just take your average Joe in everyday life. You want to kill your boss. You want to kill your neighbor. You want to beat the shit out of your coworkers.
Oh.
Just saying.
I really
You know what I
I'm
mean?
glad I don't have your job.
Oh no, I'm not saying my job sucks, but I mean in
Glad we don't share
general,
an
you know what I
office.
mean? Like, I'm just saying, it's like, I whatever. It is what it is. But for that hour and a half or 2 hours, however long your training or class may last, you kind of brush that off and you blow some steam off and you go on.
You feel amazing,
You feel
right?
better, yeah, and
After.
you just
It's
go on
like-
with your you know, with your day afterwards and
Absolutely.
whatever.
It's like therapy. Like people,
Yeah.
when they make those jokes, like it really is like therapy. Like it does something to you where it's like the crappy day that you had or whatever is going on in your life. It's just like gone. It's like relief.
Well, you can go run, you can go lift weights, you can do a lot of other physical activities, but there's something involved with the fight that has to put you in that moment. So then not only are you physical, you're sweating, your heart beats up, your adrenaline is pumping. It completely takes you away from everything else. And you don't have to be conscious of it. It's just that it requires you to be in the moment.
Yes.
And when you do that for 2 hours, an hour and a half at a time, however long it is that your classes are, with the people that you trust most, because you know you sweat with them, bleed with them, you punch
Yeah.
with them, kick with them. These are people you trust, and you know you give it 100%. They give you 100%, and it pushes you to that level. And I think that maybe that kind of release and that kind of humbling experience, because you're never the best. You know what I mean? If you're the best guy at your school, you need to go to a different school. No,
No,
two
for
ways
sure.
about it.
No, for
you know
sure.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's always someone else. Someone else is going to give it to you, and you're not on every day.
I've always said for every bad motherfucker there's always somebody badder and more of a
Absolutely.
motherfucker. So
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
No,
So-
and that's put very bluntly, but the truth is that we see it all the time. So we're all in here talking about fights on a weekly basis. Who's going to win? Who's going to do that? And we never know.
Yeah,
you
of
can
course.
cast. You can
It
roll the
could-
dice, right?
It can change within a split second. Like
Yep.
the fight could be going one direction, and then all of a sudden, one little movement will happen, and that's it.
Yeah.
You're done. You're knocked out, or you're choked out, or your arm's broken, or whatever. You know.
No, and that's the game, and that's why we just don't know, right?
Yeah, for
You
sure.
know, everybody's got a puncher's chance.
Yeah.
But bringing back to like Jacob, it's like that is I've never met like I have students that like their parents were extremely supportive, took them to like any tournament that was like when I taught in New England, like in the surrounding areas, and they were so supportive of their jujitsu, you know, passion and everything like that. But that is like another level. Like they moved out here to solely support him training jujitsu, and the fact that I mean, like I totally like support the fact that he's homeschooled and he gets to have the ability to train freely like that and do
3
his
times
home-
a day.
Yeah.
It's like,
Well, like I joked with him before we got started. I was like, dude, I was homeschooled for the longest time. Not for the same reasons he was, but, you know, I mean, that is pretty
They sent
cool,
your
though.
homework home. Yes,
Yeah,
we
I
get
got
it.
I know.
homeschooled
I got
after
homeschooled and I still didn't go to school.
my sophomore
Suspended
year.
isn't homeschooled.
You were
I was
bad
homeschooled
kid.
a lot too then.
you were bad, right? That's why you
Yeah,
got homeschooled.
sure.
Yeah, so after my sophomore year, same for
Yeah.
me. And I was involved in a bunch of stupid stuff.
Where was that at? Where did you go to sophomore year at?
I was
Well,
in
give us the
Santa Fe.
city. Okay, so in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Okay.
I went to Santa Fe High.
And not a lot to do. You weren't involved in jiu-jitsu yet?
No, of course
Way
not.
early.
Like, I got involved when I was 21.
Okay.
And, like,
So what's to do in Santa Fe when you're 15? Ride motorcycles?
I
Ride
mean,
horses.
I guess if you know people that have
Tip
motorcycles
tip
and
cows over.
horses.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends. Like, there's tons of stuff. You could go hiking. You can go. There's lots of.
What are
outdoor
kids
areas.
into there? You know what I mean?
Being stupid.
Yeah,
you
well, that's
know, like
everywhere. I guess that's being a
like,
kid.
What I did is go to the cruise line, which is in downtown, or go to parties or raves and do stupid stuff like that. Like,
Yeah.
there's not anything. Like, I didn't know about jiu-jitsu until many years later, and it was still very like new. It wasn't like.
How did you
poppin'
come
as in-
about that? How did that first attract you? What did you see a fight?
No, actually, I had seen the UFC because it was like brand new, but nothing like crazy. I had a friend that she actually had somebody she knew that was training jiu-jitsu, and so that's how she got involved. And she was like, "Hey, you should come check out this class with me. I think you'd probably like it." Because I was like into like my dad lifted and he did races where he ran and stuff like that, and he played basketball, so there was always sports involved in my family.
So
but
he's active, yeah.
yeah, so I was sort of trying to get into like lifting weights and taking care of my body, sort of. I was 21, so I was doing what most 21-year-olds do. But yeah, so she invited me to go with her, and I watched one class. I just watched, and that was it. I was like, yeah, where do I sign up? And I literally, like, all of the things in my life that I did, like, I've never really stayed dedicated to. I didn't really give a shit about. And then I started training jiu-jitsu, and that's, like, the one thing I was like, I can never picture my life without this ever again. And I quit drinking, and I quit doing drugs, and I quit smoking cigarettes. And I did, like, it like, just changed
game
everything.
changer,
It
yeah.
was like, I want to compete, so I can't really go out on the weekends and party, you know. And I was a cocktail
Never stop
waitress,
Miguel.
and yeah, well,
He's got his own ways. Don't let me talk about him too
can't.
much.
So yeah, this is crazy, you know. But
No, that's a great testimony for how the jiu-jitsu lifestyle can improve your well-being, your thought process, your choices.
it's a game changer.
Yeah.
But it
Like-
shows that everybody like starts for different reasons.
Yeah,
Not like,
yeah, it's good
oh,
to
I
hear
watched
that.
the UFC and I want to be a fighter and I, you know, blah, 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 whatever.
Like,
whatever.
why did
know.
why did you start training? I mean, like, where did that come about? Where was it?
I'm sure my story is probably unique in itself, but I did karate as a kid, and learning those kinds of things, and being a talker, always got myself into situations growing up, fighting situations, different things happen. Thought I was tough. My big Hawaiian friend, who also is our producer here, we coincidentally were looking into at an interesting point in our lives. We're in our 30s. Starting jiu-jitsu because we'd watched UFC, and I thought I had good hands. I really did,
Yeah.
and I overconfidently thought so. And we had went to like a community center because it was cheap, because you're not ready for that commitment every month, right?
Of course.
So you want to see what it's about first, and it was lousy. So we're like, whoa, we can't train here. Like, I took a look. I'm like, it's not going to work. We went to another place that was advertised as a jiu-jitsu school, but clearly was a lineup. It's put on your belt in karate school, and I'm all, you can't do that either. I
Yeah.
realize that is not what we're looking for. So he said, I've heard of this place called De Lao. I'm all, oh, I've seen those stickers. Let's go look. So I walk in. Of course, we're pronouncing it wrong. It's De La O. And it's in a warehouse in the city of Stanton. And we walk in, and there's a cage, and there's a boxing ring, and people are actually fighting. I mean, for all intents and purposes, there were 5 to 10 fighters at any given time at that time, professional fighters,
Wow.
and everybody else was the training partners of
punching
punching
bags.
bags of those people. So my instructor, of course, greeted me with his normal warm greeting,
Right.
and I answered and said, "Well, I'm here to fight." And he said, "Well, to learn to fight." And he said, "Well, all right. Well, why don't you put on those gloves and go ahead and get in the cage?"
Wow.
So I did, and
you were
4 foot
humbled
tall, 4 foot
immediately?
wide person came up and kicked me across the face, and I looked like Chris Tucker and went, "Which one of y'all just did that?"
Yeah.
I didn't think it was going to happen. So of course you start throwing back, right? And then I was missing and got kicked again. I was like, okay, so maybe I'm not as tough as I think. And then he threw me on the ground with a man by
Oh,
the name
no.
of Tom Kenny, and he got on top of me, and I realized that I would drown. If I were in the ocean, I would be drowning.
Yeah.
He was already, he's an amazing fighter, skilled technician in jiu-jitsu. He's the guy everybody that we train with aspires to be. And still can't touch his game. He just gets better and better every year, and one of those guys,
Yeah.
So that's why I train where I train, and that's what got me involved and kept me going. I literally thought I would hand John DeLeo $600, go for 6 months, have enough to protect myself, and never go back.
And
At
you
the
were
next 6
addicted.
months, I gave him another $600.
Yeah. Like,
I'm all
You
$600
could
out
never
later. You know what I
picture
mean?
your-
10
your
years
life
later.
without it. Like, there was a point in time where I was like, I was working, like I said, I was a cocktail waitress on the weekends, and then I was working for the state of New Mexico during the week, and I like rearranged my entire schedule and like did all these different things, so just for training. And I was like, nothing in my life mattered ever that much.
Mm-hmm.
I was a punk kid. Like, when you're 21, you're still a punk.
Yeah.
Like, let's face it.
I literally saw Miguel and another of our friends, his name was David, and then another guy named Nick. And they were already, for lack of a better way to put it, at that time, pretty developed fighters because of the way that we train. I already was able to see that they had good hands. They could box. Then they put on shin guards, and their mouthpieces were in already, and they were ready to do Muay Thai, and they did. They shifted gears real quick. And then the takedowns happened. And then they had good ground game. So I was like, whoa.
Yeah,
Like,
you
these
were
guys
like,
are
"What?"
they're already ahead of me in the game. They're younger than me. They're faster than me. They were not fully grown yet because they
Yeah.
look so different now. Now they're like, oh God, like they're gonna kill me. They all filled out, you know. But
Yeah.
now there's younger guys like Little Art that have come up. I'm like, that's what you guys looked like 10 years ago. They don't look like that anymore. There's a whole lot of beers later, you know. But they filled up quite a bit. Now they're grown men. But I remember watching their skill level, and that is also what drove me. I didn't ever think to myself, wow, I want to beat those guys. I only thought I want to just be like those guys.
Yeah, like-
they're just so cool. And then they became my friends, and our friendships are unbreakable, you know. So
That's
you
what I
just
always
can't
tell
change
people,
that.
like you make like the most amazing friends. You meet, like, you network, and you meet people that are like doctors, or that are like, you know, like people you never thought you would connect with on any level.
Yeah.
That you would never have anything in common with them. Or maybe you thought they were just kind of like a douchebag or something. And then you guys are training together and you find out that they're really cool. And then there's ways to, like, maybe you have something that they can help you with, or vice versa. And then you become like great friends, and everybody develops these great bonds with each other. It's like, it's so special. It's like more unique than most places, I feel like.
Yeah, I think an interesting thing happens when you've trained at one school for a long period of time, is that the ups and downs of life, those successes and all those tragedies, you experience it so closely with these people that you spar with, bleed with, sweat with, that your life gets so entwined with them. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And I just can't say enough about that. That you don't find that really in a lot of places as an adult. You mean in high school, you're hanging out every day, you're doing your thing with your friends, and there's those
Yeah.
strong bonds. Then you kind of go your own way. But I can tell you that the guys that I train with, I don't second guess when we're anywhere. You know what I mean? Those are the guys I'm with for a reason. You know, and whether we're in downtown LA or whether we're in Huntington Beach, or it doesn't matter if it's safe or not safe. We're with the guys. We know everybody's got each other's back.
Yep.
You know, and that's a byproduct of training as hard as we do for as long as we have and sticking to it.
Even if you're by yourself, you know,
you
it gives
know-
you that big thing of
Absolutely.
confidence. Because
We
It's
were
huge.
literally
Yeah,
at
I
a
know.
place just recently, and I'm not going to talk too closely about where it was, but our instructor got into it with someone, and we all rained down on one situation
Yeah, of course.
real quick, and
Yeah.
it reminded us how close we are. We all knew it, he knew it, and nothing happened. We were smarter than that. It could have happened. It would have been a real unlucky day for the people that were involved, but we walked away, but we swarmed down like we should have together and had each other's backs, and it's always good to see that.
I think that's really cool too. That Jacob,
Yeah.
the boy that was here, like his connections that he's making now, his friendships that he's making now, most likely those will last longer than anything he would have probably made in like high school. I think
You can't put a
You know
price
what I
tag
mean?
on it.
Like,
Well, I'll just use
Those-
myself as an. Well, you could use yourself as an example. Not one, you know. Just don't want to make this about me, but just saying, like, I don't fucking talk to nobody I went to high school with.
Right. Me,
And
hardly
if I
any.
ever run into any of them, I'm just like, oh fuck. Like, not that like
Yeah,
I
I
don't
don't-
like. I just
I've
don't
got one
want
friend
anything
from
to
high
like
school.
you're
do
not-
with them. You know
you're
what I
just
mean?
Like, what's the point in saying hi?
Yeah.
That's kind of fake because we're not friends, really. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Or they say, I can't find you on Facebook. It's because I don't want to talk to you.
that's because I got a life, motherfucker.
Like,
don't have a
but
Facebook.
this
That's why I
kid-
have a life,
reason.
motherfucker. Yeah.
He's over here and he's making like I said, like these connections and friendships with like people that like he'll probably have forever. And
He's a pretty wise young man in
That's
that he
pretty
knows what he
amazing.
wants, right?
Yeah.
I've kind of had a unique path too, similar, because I started playing guitar young. I've always stuck to music. It's really what I do. I know I do jujitsu, and I've been in this game a long time. I do a lot of other things too, but the music thing has always been my focus.
Yeah.
And I
I was in the same boat as you.
if I were to look back and say I should have done something, I should have bailed out at 16 and went to MI, because I craved it. But now I get all that knowledge and still pushing. You know, you never give up on
Yeah.
those things that are inside you that drive you. And I
Yeah.
see it in him. He's got that
the
fire.
spark, the little jujitsu spark. But it's like, I feel like it's more than. I mean, obviously it's more than that. But it's like even with his dad like that, you don't see. You do see some of that, but not a lot nowadays. Like the connection between families, like
Yeah.
the strong bond, like the
They're so proud.
the wantingness of staying together and staying connected, and like you said, like being like the proudness of it. It's like
Mhm.
that's so special. It's like you don't really see that very often now.
No, it's a beautiful thing, and he walked in here with his son like a man. He didn't talk down to him or anything. It was just this is my son. He's,
Unlike
Jacob
the way
Bull.
some of us grew up.
Yeah.
On
our own?
On our own. Yeah. I know.
Latchkey kids.
Hey, that's me, dude.
Yeah.
Hello,
I know,
mother.
Yeah. It's all good. No, my mom got home at 5 o'clock. She had a job.
No, mine too.
You know?
I was gonna say that. If I told my parents, "Hey, can we go to New Jersey to train or something?" Get a job, asshole.
Yeah.
Find your way out.
I would have got to see ya.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, there's
Make sure I get my car keys
six
back.
kids in my family. So
Yeah. I didn't
my
know
parents
that.
would have been like, no.
You have a pretty unique story coming from Santa Fe, and I didn't realize there were 6 kids. So where are you amongst the 6? In the
I
middle?
am the second youngest.
So you're at the tail end of things.
Have any of your folks or like siblings come watch you fight?
Yes. So, funny story. The first time, when I decided to fight, I actually was super nervous about telling. My mom's been, she's always supportive. No matter what I'm doing, as long as it's positive, obviously. She's been very supportive, even if she doesn't understand. She's like, support. My dad, on the other hand, is a little bit old school. So when I first told him, hey, I'm going to be fighting, and he didn't really understand what that meant. And I broke it down to him, and I said, I'm going to be fighting in a cage, cage fighting. And he had a little bit of a meltdown. He didn't really like that idea very much. And of course, that's he thought, well, your dude should be doing that, not you, kind of a thing.
Sure. It's old school, right?
Whatever. And he got around to it, and then he actually came out to Maine when I lived there to watch one of my fights. So that was kind of cool. But when I had my first pro fight here in California, my whole family came.
That's big.
My sisters, my brothers, my mom, and my dad, my step parents. When I was inside the octagon, and you could just hear my sister, I was like, oh my God, dude.
It's a lot of energy.
I can hear her. I can hear my sister. She's screaming my name. It was crazy, but
We can usually hear John De La O from one side of the room to the other.
Yeah.
that was pretty cool. But yeah, so all of them have been pretty really supportive.
That's pretty cool.
That's cool.
Yeah. That's a good experience. So, in the fact that they came out and supported you in your pro fight here in
Yeah.
California.
They've been to a couple of my fights, but I think it's harder for my mom to watch me
Yeah,
get
you're
hit
her
and
baby
stuff
girl.
like that. But
Come on.
she's always there cheering me on and stuff. And my dad, I don't know, he doesn't really say oh, I don't like that or whatever, but he's definitely supportive of it now. And he doesn't really understand what the heck's going on because he doesn't follow the sport. So
Mhm.
my mom follows it more.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so
You're a little star, so that's cool. You made it quite far. I mean, that's not to be frowned upon. You made it to the top of what you could possibly go to at that time.
Yeah.
Because the other divisions and the other promotion didn't exist.
yeah.
So where you were, you nailed it. That's something to be proud of. I think we're coming up on the top of the hour. Got a couple minutes left. I really
man.
appreciate you sharing all those unique stories. That was very
Yeah.
cool. We learned more about you. I already know
I
enough
like
about that
listening to
guy,
your
but I
guys'
love his
stories,
stories
too.
anyways. But a big thank you to...
You don't need to talk about me.
Yeah, we like
I'm
talking
not
about
that
you
kind of
too.
person.
You're an interesting
Yeah.
fellow. But Jacob the Bull,
Thanks.
Jacob the Bull Brown was a really cool guest. We appreciate him coming down, representing the art of jiu-jitsu, his academy and school, of course, of jiu-jitsu, and his sponsors, Os Kimonos and SureFit Mouthguards.
Thanks to his old man.
Yeah, Joe,
Yeah.
thank
Joe.
you, buddy. And for Mom for holding down the house while he came down
That's
here.
right.
They guys are good people,
Absolutely.
man. Good family, the Browns. Love to have you back. You guys can tune in again Wednesday nights, 8 p.m. live on Facebook and on YouTube.
Shout out to Punch Gunk. They were here last week.
Oh, Punch
Yeah.
Gunk are our homies.
That's
Tough stuff.
amazing.
Yeah,
Good
tough stuff
shit
or
right
rough
there.
stuff. Love it. Both of those people from Punch Gunk, man, they were just knowledgeable. Love the sport of jiu-jitsu. Love the game of MMA. All of it, man. And they're in it. They can talk about it. They train in it. I think that Nadine was a boxer.
Yeah.
Man, incredible people. So,
And they go to La Cabana out in the west side.
yes, we're going to have to go there, too.
Yep.
We're going to have to drag
Heck
you
yeah.
out there, man. Burrito
Let's do
time,
it.
right? The food of champions. Burritos.
That's right. Burritos.
But, yeah, next week, Wednesday, 8 p.m. Catch us live. Gym Crashers. See ya.
See ya.
Yeah.